Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. I'm Jerry Ford and today we're going to make a cute and fun game for children to pass the time on these hot, hazy summer days. And it's a go fishing game, magnetic, done in the hoop, but it's got cute little figures that you can use. Take the fishing pole and then you just fish. This is great for little kids. It helps their eye-hand coordination. And you can get these designs from me by just sending me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to share these designs in PES format. Okay, so what do we have? I've got a cute little jellyfish. We have some bubbles. And we have a little starfish here. I don't know, some kind of striped fish, and we're going to be making that one in a little bit. And then there's a shark, and some goldfish, and a turtle. Okay, I'm going to give you two different ways of making this. If you only have a 4x4 hoop, then you have to make them so that they are one-sided in order to be completed, or hoop 2 pieces of stabilizer. So you have, and what you will end up is the design on one side, the eyes and the details on one side, but not on the other. But this is pretty much all in the hoop, and it does look very neat. The second way is if you've got a 5x7 hoop, I've also got another set of designs that are reversed and together so that you can do two fronts and then sew them together. And see, now it's the same on both. This is the goldfish, and it's the same on both sides. So you have details on both sides. Okay, so let's get started. For this, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a dowel, about 1 foot long, some string or braid or ribbon or something to make the line, and then you're also going to need a little bag that has a little magnet in it. The fishing pole also can act like extra hands at your sewing table because you can take and help it retrieve pins from the floor. So it's not just for kids. I'm going to show you the first method first, and we're going to make the striped fish, only I'm going to make him in green. So we're going to make the striped fish, and he's only going to be one-sided. Okay, you're going to need some tearaway stabilizer and a 4x4 or larger hoop. You're going to need some felt here, just some regular scraps of felt, and I'm going to use green felt. It also helps to have a topper, and by topper what I mean is a water-soluble film that goes over the top that actually helps to make your stitching look a little neater so that it doesn't dig into the pile of the felt. Okay, of course, the embroidery thread is up to you. If you're doing it the one-sided, you're going to decide what color thread do you want to use to outline the fish. And I usually try to do it the same color as the background fabric or the felt. And you'll want to have a bobbin wound with the same thread because it will be seen on both sides. Okay. Of course, for this one, I'm going to use gold, white, black, and a dark green. Okay, you're going to need to have magnets. Now, I'm leery about putting magnets on my embroidery machine. So these are craft magnets, and these you can get by the roll, and you cut them to the size that you want. Unfortunately, these are not strong enough. These are fairly safe to use on your embroidery machine, but I want something a little stronger, and so I came up with a method that we can use stronger magnets. You'll need some heavier duty magnets, and I got these at I think Lowe's or Home Depot, and they're ceramic block magnets, and you're going to need at least one that has a hole in the middle of it, and these are fairly strong magnets. You don't want to put these anywhere near your magnetic media like USB sticks, and you don't want them really near your machine. I also like to get these kind to go inside of the little fish and stuff, and they will make your fingers dirty because they are, I don't know what they're made out of, but they do make your fingers dirty. So these are strong enough. That's what I have in here. This is the most strong, so you want to keep this well away from your machine. You're going to need about a yard of the soutache braid for the fishing line, and the little bag that I use to make the big magnet look nice is just a simple piece of lining fabric or anything lightweight in order to make a yo-yo bag. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to hoop my stabilizer only. Okay, and then we'll go to the machine. Okay, to start this process, I'm going to go to embroidery, load up the design that I have on my jump stick, and I'm going to select the striped fish and set. Okay, and this is a relatively small one. So I'm going to go ahead and load the hoop into the machine. I'm ready to start sewing. I'm just going to use gold thread throughout this just so you can see what I'm doing. So the first step is it says the color is called applique position, so I'm going to stitch. I'm going to use gold, so hopefully you can see this, and this is going to give me the outline. Okay, this one just gave me the outline for the positioning. So I'm going to just float a piece of fabric, or in other words, the felt, on top so that I have at least about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch sticking out from outside the stitching lines. And I'm going to just do the tack down, which is color stop number 2, and it's called applique material. Right now I have gold embroidery thread in my needle and regular embroidery bobbin thread in the bobbin. Okay, now notice, if you can see, it's very hard to see. I have not put a topping on it, and you really can't even see the stitching, even though it's gold and the felt is just a piece of this is green. Okay, I'm going to put a water-soluble topping on the tops here so that the stitches will stand out more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to float it on the top, and by that I mean just sit there and hold it down. And I'm not hooping that. And then I'm just going to stitch the stripes, which are also gold. Once you have a few stitches in, you really don't have to worry about holding it down or pinning it. Okay, the next color tells us it's the white of the eyes. Now we can do the eyes, which are just the detail on his eyes. And black for the pupils. Okay, the next thing is asking for the gold. And I'm going to put the gold back in. And at this point, I'm also going to take the hoop off the machine. And I want to put another piece on the top, on the back, and I want to float that. Now, I'm not real big on taping. You could tape it down. However, I'm better at pinning. I will take pins. I'm just putting the pins, and I'm not going to leave them there. Believe me, I'm not. I'm going to take another pin from the front, way out of the stitching area, and just tack it down. Other pin, I'm just putting it way outside. And I'm not going to leave those there, because the problem with tape is when you go to put this underneath, what happens is the tape rolls on you and it folds under, and then you got a mess. So what I want to do at this time is I want to put in the gold bobbin thread, because this will be seen on both sides. Cover back, okay, And what you want to do is just place this in here gently, so sort of as soon as you get it up underneath of the foot, sort of lift it a little bit, and that way it won't tend to drag it. And here we go. Just double check that nothing, you'll peek underneath of it and nothing is folded and stuck under the needle and wrapped around the needle or anything like that. Okay, now I'm going to do the detail work, which is color stop number 6, and it's just going to be the same color as what I would do the background or the outlining. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. You don't have to put a topper on the back. If you want to have it lifted so that it looks nice, yeah, you're more than welcome to put a topper on the back, but the topper tends to stick to the plastic on the bed of your machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, and is that I'm going to note right up here is where this is going to start. So it's putting the two sides together. I don't want this to complete. I want this to stop right about there. So I am going to simply watch it as it stitches. It's going to do a bean stitch around. Now this is a bean stitch, which means it's a triple stitch. As soon as I get to about an inch of where it started, I'm going to stop the machine. And here we go. I am stopping there and just simply cutting. I'm done. I don't let it finish. And then I'm going to take it out of the hoop. Okay, I'm going to take this off. Remove the pins, remove the solvay, and I want to remove the stabilizer, tear it away from the inside. So I want to tear it out. It helps to use the tear away firm because it tears cleaner. I'm using a rinse away tear away, which is not ideal because it leaves these little fibers behind. And you can remove the rest of this if you like. Okay, see how the stitches stand out where they didn't before? See how that stands out nice? It didn't before. Okay. Again, I would take all this out. If you have trouble getting it out, just take a damp sponge and the rest will come out. Will dissolve away really quick. Okay, that's ready to go. So the next thing I would do is take a nice sharp pair of scissors and cut all the way around. Try to be as even as you can. Then you would take your magnet, so you've left a little opening here, and just insert your magnet all the way to the middle or the other side, and you're just going to take your sewing machine and stitch this little part where you have the opening closed. Or if you don't want to do that, you could take a piece of fusible web, put it in there and heat set that end down, or you could even hand sew it if you want to. Yeah, that's not going to happen for me. Or you could glue it. Either way, you don't have to finish it. The only thing is that you want to have a little bit better line. And this looks really neat because you don't see the stabilizer on the edge. And of course, yeah, I could have done if you do have a little bit showing, then you can always take a pair of tweezers and pull that out. There you go. And that's finished and good to go. The advantage to this method is that you can do it with a 4x4 hoop. You have less stitching time because you're only stitching the details on one side and not the other. And It's fairly quick, and it's really nice and neat because you're stitching, you're cutting everything just even. Now, if you only have a 4x4 machine and you want to have it reversible, you're going to have to do it this way. You would stitch it one way, then you go back, and then you would go to your edit. I'll go back one more here. You want to go to your editing and take the mirror image your design and stitch it again. However, you're going to have to then do all the sewing all the way around like you would do in method 2. Now, let's go ahead and start stitching this. Okay, the first thing is the applique, and this is going to do both of them on the right side. You know, so it'll have the detail stitching on both sides. Now it's ready to go, and it's just going to stitch the placement for both pieces of felt. Notice these are a little different. The one on the bottom's got these extra little lines here. What that is that's the placement for your ribbons. Okay, I'll start at this end, and I'm going to put them about 1 inch in, and I'm going to get little bits of tape. Okay, so I'm going to put however angle you want them, about 1 inch in, but I'm going to tape them on the outside. Okay, here's the next one. Leave about 1 inch on the inside. And you want these ribbons kind of wonky anyway, because you want them to look like that. Okay, now the second color stop is going to tack down these ribbons, and this is where you're going to want to stitch by holding on to the start button. So as it stitches, you just don't let go, especially if you have a baby lock or brother. And you want to make sure you want to make sure that foot is going to clear that ribbon. If it doesn't, then you stop. But I want to go really super slow. Don't worry if it doesn't catch everything, that's fine. It's going right over, but if it doesn't, like it probably won't for the next one. See how that's lifting? I stop it. That you stop the machine, correct it, put that ribbon underneath, then continue. Once they're all tacked, or once you're sure nothing's going to be lifted under the foot, okay, and on the way back it's double tacked it and you're good to go. And then I want to cover these so that they're about 1/2 inch apart, and I'm going to put a piece of salvie on it. Because I want the details to stand out. And I'm just going to use blue thread for everything here, pretty much. Okay, let's tack down the bottom one. Now Now it's tacking down the top. Okay, now we're going to stitch the details. Okay, now it's the blue. Okay, now I'm going to switch to black for the pupils of the eyes. Okay, now I'm going to return to the blue. And I don't have to put bobbin thread the same color on the bottom. I can just leave the regular one. The advantage to this is that you don't have to float anything underneath, and it's stitched on both sides. And I don't have to memorize where it starts so that I can stop it an inch away. I'm just going to let it stitch. And it's the last. I'm using the blue again, so it gives you a nice top stitch there. Okay, all done. Remove the fabric from the hoop. Tear out the stabilizer. Take any of these tapes off. Okay. Got any, especially at the bottom, if you have any stabilizer sticking out, just pull it away. Okay. Or remove the topping. I'll get those little bits out in a minute. Now you want to rough cut it, which means you want it more than a ½ inch away. So I'm just going to rough cut these out. Be careful not to cut your ribbon. This one I don't have to worry. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew these together. Now here is the reversible jellyfish. Okay, so one is opposite of the other, so I want to take pins and I want to pin match them. So I'm going to take it in at least 3 spots, like here, and take it like that. I'll go on this side, pin match here to here. And I'm going to do that on at least 3 places, and probably this one I'm going to do 4. So I'll come on this side, pin it. There. Oops, this one came out. And let's see if this one is matching. Sure is. Okay. Then I'll take my pins and I'm going to go sideways like this, so perpendicular to this one, like that, making sure these are straight. Once that one's in, I can use this. Come over here. Okay. All right. I'm going to take the detail part first. I'm going to sort of start right here. And I'm going to stitch around to about 1 inch, and then I'm going to slide in the magnet. I'm going to again start here. On the straightaway. Okay. And back tack. And I'm just stitching right over top. I am leaving these long sides, leaving these seam allowances big for right now until I'm done stitching. And you'll see why in a minute. Take your time. Just going right over top of that blue stitching. Doesn't have to be exact. Nobody's going to get their face that close. Take your time. Okay, just like the single, I'm going to stop about an inch away, leave the needle in the down position, raise the presser foot, and slide this in. Get in there. There we go. I want to stuff it all the way to the other side if I can. More. That's why I don't like the big magnets. Okay, and now it's all the way on this other side, and I'm going to continue to stitching it closed. And then back tack to lock it. Now I'm ready to cut. And I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to trim about 1/8 of an inch away. If this were a regular fish, this is all you need to do. Just go about 1/8 of an inch away. Now I'm worried about cutting off my ribbon, so I'm going to cut each one separately. So I'm going to just take my scissors, being careful not to cut my ribbon, and just trim them. Okay, then turn it over. I usually will hold the ribbons back, way out of the way, and trim back side of the fish, of the jellyfish, about 1/8 of an inch away. This is the only one you have to do this with. The rest of the fish just don't have any tendrils sticking out of the bottom like this one does. Okay, all done. Look how cute. And it's ready to be. Like that. There we go. Ready to fish. Now to sew the method one way, where they have already been put together. This is the single where this side is blank and this side's got the detail. This is easy to do, so I'm using 1 inch, but I don't like these great big magnets. It's a little too strong. These are going to want to stick to your needle plate, so you're going to have to be aware of that. Set this on a small straight stitch. See, that's wanting to really stick to that needle plate. But I'm just going to give it, and I'm going to back tack a little bit. Just stitch right over top of the guide stitches underneath. Get to the end. If you want it to be thicker right there, just go over it again. I might do it 3 times since it's a triple stitch originally. Okay. And that's done, so we just clip it. And this is ready to go. Cut the little threads, and this one is finished, and it's got a big magnet inside of it. You could do the same thing with this kind. This is one. Now this is one where it's done the second method. Now you can see on this little brown goldfish that it's a little too small for that big magnet. So that's why I like these little ones, and this is what I would mostly use in the fish, is because I can get a lot of the detail done. See, here's my opening. I can get a lot of this done like that. Just raise my presser foot. Now I only have to open this about 1/4 of an inch and slide this way over. You can always reposition it later. Okay, and now my magnet's in here, it's a lot smaller. And see, now you can position that where you want it, clip all your threads, and this one is done. Now this one's light enough, you still have some threads you gotta clip, but you can't tell which side is the right side. It actually turned out pretty good. I got a couple of threads here. Okay, all right. That's all for the designs. Now to make the fishing rod. Okay, what I want to do is make a little bag or a yo-yo. You can use pinking shears or turn it like you would a normal yo-yo. And then I take about a yard of thread, fold it in half, and then I'm going to stitch around for my bag. Just stitch around like you would an ordinary yo-yo. Okay, so I'll leave the bag open. You want to thread that 1 yard of braid or yarn or ribbon, whatever, through the hole in the magnet, and then just tie it closed with a square knot or any kind of knot that'll hold, doesn't matter. It's all going to be hidden anyway. There, clip any loose ends off. Take the knot, put it in the hole. Then when you let's give it a little tug to seat it, put the magnet in the bag, pull this tight, there we go. Magnet sticking to my scissors. Okay, and then just tie a knot. You can wind it around if you like to make it look like it's supposed to be a little bag. And sew this knot. And then bury my end. Okay. Pull this straight, as straight as you can. And I'm going to put it in the thumbtack. Whatever, you just want to pierce it so it's nice and secure. And then I take it and just take the thumbtack and push it down on the dowel, and there it's done. You can put a little glue if you're worried about little ones getting it apart and sticking themselves. Okay, if you're making this Go Fishy set for a small child or one that is likely to put something into their mouth or tear stuff apart, don't. I repeat, do not use this method for attaching the line to the fishing pole with a thumbtack. Bad idea. So instead, and especially if you're giving this for a gift, then I wouldn't use a thumbtack at all. So what I would do is go ahead and attach the ribbon to the wooden dowel for the fishing rod. Use masking tape or duct tape or anything that will just affix that line to the into the dowel. Don't use the thumbtack. Okay. But if you're going to use the thumbtack, this is what you'll do, especially if it's for older kids or you're making that fishing rod so that you can pick up pins in your sewing room. Okay, the fishing game is done. So what you do is you stick these in a bag, throw them on the ground or on a table or whatever. Assign points to each of the type of fish. The ones that are a little harder to catch are going to be like the jellyfish, so you might give those 10 points and these 5. The ones that have the small magnets, give those maybe 5. The ones that have the big magnets in it, give it 2. The bubbles, and I make lots of bubbles, and make that like 1 point, and that way the kid, and if you put them in a big pile, then have the child or the adult, especially the tipsy adult, you tell it to get the purple one, or you can make little cards or whatever to tell them which one to get, and then a little one will have to come over here and pick it up and gets points for it. Okay, and that's all there is to it. This was a fun little project to do. Kids love them. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you would like a copy of the PES files and the instructions on how to complete this project, then send me an email. Let me know if you want the singles, which means it's only going to be one-sided, or you want the doubles, which will be all together on a 5x7 hoop. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this project. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of any future videos, and I do post quite often. And I will see you next time. Bye.